Hello, and welcome to Fundamentals of People Management, Module 10. I'm Dr. Lon Schiffbauer, and today we are talking about performance management. In a previous module, we talked about the importance of setting individual and team goals and objectives that align with organizational objectives. With these in hand, we now need to track progress against these objectives, which means tracking and managing performance. Now, depending on your specific industry, there are a variety of tools that people managers can use to track and manage performance. Let's go over just a few of these. The first is a performance dashboard. This is kind of a visual, graphical tool that managers use to track progress against key performance indicators, or KPI. These dashboards can allow managers to track not only individual performance, but team performance against the organizational objectives. And because they're kind of these cool little graphical, tools, it's pretty easy to get a quick little snapshot of how the organization is doing. The next is 360 feedback. This involves the manager collecting feedback from supervisors, peers, subordinates, even clients, customers, other stakeholders. In other words, it allows the manager to get feedback from the entire ecosystem in which the employee operates. Hence the term 360. It's short for 360-degree feedback, and we just call them 360s. The nice thing about 360s is it allows the manager to get feedback from a variety of perspectives. After all, the employee has somewhat of a different relationship with supervisors, peers, and subordinates, and customers, and clients, and stakeholders. 360 feedback allows the manager to kind of get the full picture of how the employee operates. The next performance management tool is peer reviews. And, a peer review is exactly what it sounds like. This is getting feedback from the employee's team members, coworkers, folks like this. Now, while a 360 often gets feedback from, say, coworkers and so forth, a peer review is much more specific. The manager is really trying to figure out how well the employee fits in and contributes to the team as a whole. In a way, a peer review is as much a diagnostic of how the team is working as a collective as it is an individual assessment. Finally, we have self-assessments. This is when we ask the employee to basically sit down and write their own review. So they'll list out their accomplishments, their strengths, their areas of development where they can improve and so forth. Everything that they kind of feel like showcases not only what they've accomplished, but their potential to continue to contribute to the organization. Self-assessments also invite the employee to take ownership for their performance, to hold themselves accountable to their performance, to the expectations associated with their roles and responsibilities, to basically say, yeah, this is what was expected of me, this is what I've delivered, and to make an assessment of their own performance. Another feature of self-assessments that's particularly handy for the manager is it allows them to assess what the employee feels are their expectations. What do they think their job is and what do they need to deliver? They can then bump this up against the organizational expectations and make sure that the employee is aligned with what the organization requires of them. All right, so these are just a few of the tools available to you to track and monitor your employees' performance against organizational objectives. Fantastic. But now, as a people manager, once in a while, you're going to find that employees are not meeting expectations. They are not stepping up to the plate. They are not performing at the level that you and the organization expects of them. In cases like this, you may need to put together a corrective action plan. A corrective action plan is a plan of action, go figure, right, that allows the employee and manager and HR, more about that in a moment, to figure out this is where we are right now, our current state, this is where we want to be in terms of performance, This is how we are going to bridge this gap. This is the purpose of a corrective action plan. Now, before you go off and form and implement a corrective action plan, you'll want to engage with human resources. There are a lot of laws, rules, regulations, and policies in place that must be followed when putting together a corrective action plan. HR knows all these, and they are going to be able to give you the guidance and support you need to put together something awesome for your employee. So please do not wing this. Don't try to go solo. Engage with HR. Now, that being said, there are some consistent, regular elements of a corrective action plan that you will almost invariably see. So let's go over these. The first one is identifying the specific performance issues, the specific concerns that you have. Here's the thing. You can't just say, well, you sort of just haven't really been meeting expectations, No. We need to be very specific. Furthermore, you will want to get to the root cause of the issue. You don't want to form a corrective action plan around the symptoms. You want to get at the core of the issue and make sure that you are very specific about what this plan is meant to mitigate for. Next, along the lines of being specific, you will want to put together a SMART plan: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. You'll want to give your employee a very clear plan of attack. This way they know what the expectations are, what success looks like, how they're going to be evaluated, and what they are expected to do on the other side of this corrective action plan. So again, we don't just wing this, we want to give them the scaffolding they need. Next, it's important that you provide any training, resources, or other support that they may need to be successful in this plan. If they don't have the time, resources, or expertise to execute to this corrective action plan, then you're not doing themselves or yourself and the organization any favors. So you want to make sure that they have all the tools they need to be successful. Next, you'll want to monitor and evaluate progress against schedule. How are they doing? Are they making good progress in executing this corrective action plan? Are they going the right direction? Is there any additional help or support they may need? Or is there anything we need to change in the plan? By monitoring their progress, you can evaluate all of these things along the way and make just little tweaks as necessary versus big, huge changes, say at the end when perhaps the employee failed, but through no fault of their own. Finally, throughout this entire process, you will want to document everything. Document the plan, document meetings, document agreements, document instructions, every aspect of this corrective action plan and how you and the employee implement this plan. Now, HR will tell you day in and day out that the 3 rules of HR are document, document, document. So go ahead and get a head start on this and start collecting all of your materials. This may be very important later on when we talk about, terminations, but that's in a future module. Now, throughout this entire corrective action plan, from the very beginning to the end, you will want to provide frequent, specific, and direct feedback to the employee. And that's what we're going to talk about in our next module. So stick around and let's learn how we can help our employees, not only when they're crushing it, but when they're struggling a little bit as well. Feedback is the key. All right, so there you go, a quick primer on performance management. Thanks a lot for joining today, and until we talk again, have a fantastic day.